Hello and welcome to another episode of Skinterviews. My name is Nathan Strom and my co-host is
George Scandalis. Welcome to Skinterviews, everyone. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm having a good night, as always, on isolation, hanging out with the family. What about you, buddy?
You know what? It turns out that you're my family because I'm hanging out quite a bit with you.
It is. It's two, three.
What we should do?
What should we do, George?
We should ship my family to you, and they should ship you to me, or vice versa, for the rest of the isolation.
Do you think that maybe they'll allow us to open up our bubble?
We'll probably have to be quarantined together for 2 weeks, and one of us is going to die.
Well, tonight we've got an amazing guest tonight, George, and I'm excited to bring her on. This guest, she's a lovely nurse injector from out in the Halifax area. She's from the SRG group in Halifax, Nova Scotia. She works out of 3 clinics: the Vibe, Vitality, and Truro. And this girl's just a beautiful looking girl. She's sassy. She's got great personality. And she's taking the injectable market by storm out in East Canada. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her tonight. So should we bring her out?
Well, I guess we have to.
Let's bring her out. So I'd like everyone to meet Aundrea Trevors.
Hello.
Hello, Andrea.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Hi, Nathan. Hi, George.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's we're an hour behind. I guess we're an hour ahead. It's 8 o'clock here, so it's getting dark and cold. We had some snow yesterday, and it was terrible.
No way.
We had a lot of snow yesterday, actually. Just seemed to hit Nova Scotia, but it's gone now. How about you guys?
Amazing.
What's going on? What's going on in Toronto?
We are Mother Nature's all over the place. Doesn't know what she wants the weather to be. This week we had all rain. Apparently, on the weekend it's going to be beautiful and sunny. Yeah. You never know. Every day is a different adventure.
It's true.
So I'm really sorry about what happened out there recently. It's heartbreaking to see what happened with the shootings. And have they said anything further? Do they know anything more than what we last heard?
Not much. I think they're just trying to really put all the pieces together because it was about 150-kilometer radius, really, of where he started and where he finished. There was, I think there's like 16 different crime scenes. So it's really, it's unlike anything that they've ever had to deal with before. So they said that it will likely take months and months before they kind of connect all the pieces. So it's really, really, really heartbreaking. It's, our thoughts and prayers go to all the families that are affected by it. And it's just unlike anything that we've ever really seen here, especially on, sleepy Nova Scotia, where everybody knows everybody and it's a pretty quiet place. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking.
East Coasters are known to be the nicest, so it's even more heartbreaking,
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was really, really took us all by surprise. I live in the Truro area, and that's exactly where he passed through, actually. So it was a pretty scary morning that morning when we started getting the text, because all we really knew at that point was that he was, dressed up like a cop and driving a cop car. So, but then finally we heard that it came to an end about 30, 40 minutes from my home.
Wow.
So it was, they were once they figured out what was going on, they were quick to react. So thank goodness for the RCMP and the cops.
Totally heartbreaking.
Yeah,
totally
it is. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's lighten up the mood a bit. Let's get to know you.
Yeah. Awesome.
I've heard so many great things about you from Nathan. I've watched an episode that you guys had started, which was Skin Talks, which I really loved. So I'm happy to have you here. I want to go right back to your very first breath. Enter the world. There's Aundrea. What was your full name at birth?
So my full name is Aundrea Lynn Trevors.
Amazing. Were you named after anyone specific?
Not anybody specific. My grandmother was French, so I think that's why like my mother and her spoke French, so I think that was why they went Aundrea instead of Aundrea. I don't really speak French that well, so I didn't pass over to me, but
And
but
you were
yeah.
born in Canada?
I was born in Miramichi, New Brunswick, so it's kind of more northern in New Brunswick, where the winters are, believe it or not, it's only 3 hours from here, but the winters are a lot more harsh. You get probably at least another full month of snow and cold weather as opposed to Nova Scotia. So, but it's a great little spot to grow up. It's a very small city. It's like maybe 20,000 people there. Pretty
Wow.
small. Mm-hmm.
How many of those people were your siblings?
Just two. I have a sister, an older sister, and a younger brother. Yeah.
And I heard a little bit of when we were backstage, I heard a bit of a heartbreaking story. You were on your way to Jamaica to celebrate your wedding.
Yes, I was. We were supposed to leave the 19th of April, and we were going to Jamaica. We had about 25 people that were coming with us. So we were going to have our ceremony down there, and obviously Corona had other plans. So we had to cancel everything, which was really, really, it was heartbreaking, but there's really nothing we can do. My dress I didn't even get to wear my dress. It's still at the tailor's, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
You're going to have to wear it.
I know. I'm going to have to. It's a beautiful dress. It was the reason why I picked it. It was so nice, but I have to wear it, get dressed up, go somewhere. I don't know. Because we're legally already married, but we wanted to go down there and just have like a big ceremony down there. So that's why I'll do the whole dress down there. Because when we legally got married, I just wore like a jumpsuit type of thing that was white. But this was like the full on wedding dress. But anyway, who knows what we'll do.
Maybe you could get married live on Skinterviews.
Well, there's a thought. Never thought of that.
First time we could put some sort of live stream and stream it to the world.
Don't make me get officiated. I'll go get officiated.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'll do the ceremony myself.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea, guys. I just have to convince my husband.
We got this. Don't worry. We'll set it all up. You don't have to worry anything. I'm already practicing. Do you nurse Aundrea? What's your husband's name?
Andrew.
Do you nurse Aundrea? Take Andrew to be your husband, to have and to hold, to inject forever.
He'd be like, done. He's pretty easygoing. He'll probably say yes.
It's done.
We'll hook it up.
We'll pick a date backstage tonight, and we'll get it going. So
I love it.
Aundrea, I just want to bring up some photos here because I want to talk more about your family here. So take us through some of these photos.
Right. So my top left is my husband there, Andrew. That's my favorite photo of him because he's sitting in his 89 GTI Golf, which is his love. He's a huge Volkswagen car guy. So in the middle there and the right is my father and my sister and my brother. My mom passed away about 10 years ago from cancer. I just didn't happen to have any photos of her, but that's my brother and my sister, my brother Bradley, my sister Anitra, and my dad Keith. And so down there, Miramichi, that's where I grew up actually. So right through Miramichi is the Miramichi River. It kind of runs directly through Chatham and Newcastle, and I grew up basically on the Chatham side of Miramichi. It's a nice little spot. The winters are pretty desolate, but the summers are a lot of fun because there's a lot of water around, so a lot of water sports.
Awesome.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, it is pretty fun.
So tell me a little bit about growing up, elementary school, and your schooling years.
I'm trying to think. I was very energetic. Let's put it that way. I had a lot of energy when I was a kid. I think that was why my parents like put me into sports right away because I was like bouncing off the walls at home. So school was, I just had to work extra hard at being calm and doing what I needed to do to get through. But yeah, that was school was a lot of fun. I loved going through school. You meet that, but I never had anything bad with school. No bad things ever happened or anything like that. I probably should have studied more. That would be the only thing. Paid attention more.
So let's take you back to your schooling days. Like,
Mhm.
can you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yes, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but then like as I got older, because I'm a huge animal lover. But as I got older, I didn't know if I could handle, not being able to save that family pet or something like that. So I it took me a while actually to figure out what I wanted to do as I got older. Um, I was all over the place. My head was through the clouds for a very long time. I have a degree in arts. I did a psychology degree. And then right after that was when I went into when I went into nursing and got my nursing degree. So it took me a while to figure out. I was a mature student by the time I went into my nursing degree, um, which was probably a good thing because if I would have did it when I was 18, I probably wouldn't have gotten through it. Because again, it's all about party at that time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was very much like you when I was that age as well. So
Yeah.
heroes, talk to me about some of the heroes and people you looked up to when you were growing up as a young kid.
Gosh, heroes who I looked up to growing up. I don't really know. To tell you the truth, I didn't really have like any heroes, but I grew up, as you guys know, I grew up a gymnast until I was about probably 17 or 18. So, I mean, in that sport, that's all you do. That's, you're training 30, 40 hours a week at the age of like 10. So I would say growing up, it would have been a team of gymnasts called the Magnificent Seven. They won basically all of everything that you could win in the Olympics. They're an American team. And that's who I had posters on my wall of. It wasn't any guys or anything like that. It was all these gymnasts all over the place. So I would say that's probably who I looked up to the most when I was growing up.
And let's be honest, you're not too bad at the old gym. I've got a little clip here, and I think it's from a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
even like this may take you back to your childhood days, but like I want to show the viewers this because this is very, very impressive. And George and I attempted this. Actually, we should maybe try and attempt this live on Skinterviews one day. I think we would end up in hospital. But
Wow.
Yeah. I actually surprised myself.
so you're still doing a bit of gym in your spare time then?
Yes, and I just actually, well, I never really stopped it completely. Gymnastics is a very young person sport because it's so hard on your body. But as I got a little bit older, I still kind of played around with it. But I actually just went back to doing adult gymnastics in like the actual gymnasium, and I just started that this year here in Truro with the Titans, I think they're called. Anyway, and it's a lot of fun. We just do it like once or twice a week for about an hour at a time, and it's a good workout. I actually bring my husband with me, and he goes and cut. And he's never done gymnastics before in his life, but he plays around the equipment and stuff, so it's pretty fun. Keeps you in shape.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit before I pass it on to George. I would love to know a funny story about you growing up, or a funny story that you've got up your sleeve that you sometimes bring out at maybe a party or when you're having a few drinks with.
Oh man, let me think. A funny story. Well, when I was probably like I would say 11, um, we used to always hang out at my grandmother's house. She had like this huge farm, and my father has a couple of brothers, and growing up with them, they would always tease us constantly and get us to do things, and we were always scared to death of my dad because he was the oldest and always telling us not to do things. So his youngest brother, my uncle, got me to get into one of their old beat up trucks that they had back at the farm. And again, I couldn't even hardly see over the steering wheel. and he gets me to drive the truck around the yard. And anyway, as I'm driving, I drive over the it would be I guess the sewer system. So I drive over and I didn't know, and the whole front part of the truck just goes right into the ground. So I'm crying and he's laughing and he just thinks it's hilarious. And my dad is just so mad at my uncle at this point. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we would do that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun growing up there.
Are you a better driver these days?
Much better driver. I only have one speeding ticket.
Does the hubby let you drive his Golf GTI?
He does. Yeah, he does. Well, he has more than one. He's got like 3 of them. So there's one that he doesn't always let me drive, but then the other 2 I'm allowed to drive whenever I want. Yeah.
Tell me about your first kiss. Do you remember who it was? How it happened? Was it awkward? Have you improved?
I think I've improved. I hope I have. My first kiss, gosh, I would think it would be back in junior high. I think his name was Corey. Would have been in behind the school, after school hours, something like that, when you're not supposed to be doing it. Would have been then, yeah. Of course it was awkward. It's terrible. I'm sure it was horrible.
Did you have a diary that you would write in growing up?
I never did. I never had time to write in it. Honestly, I was at the gym all the time. I used to sleep in my gymnastics outfits, and my mom would be like waking me up, be like, "Take that off, child. Like, come on." No, never had a diary.
Tell me the last lie you told your husband to be. Or your husband, I guess now.
The last lie?
Mm-hmm.
The last lie.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, he won't watch the show.
You know what? I planned a big trip. It wasn't last year; it was the year before. We planned a big trip to Africa. We went down to Africa, and it was a 3-week trip down to Africa. And I did not tell him a thing about it. He had really no idea what he was packing for. Like he thought we were going to be like in a desert, like sleeping in teepees. Like he had no clue. And it was like a 3-week tour of the whole west coast of the tip of South Africa. And so I would say that, and I had to keep that to myself for so long. And so it turned out to be pretty cool in the end. He was pretty excited.
All right, I'm going to hand you over to Nathan because I know he loves this question. It has to do with food. So.
It does, yeah. So we would love to know, if you were to host dinner for 3 people, and you can choose whether you're cooking or not, or ordering in, who would those 3 people be? They could be dead or alive.
Okay.
And why would you choose those 3 people? And what would you cook, or what would you order in?
Oh man. Well, for the 3 people that I would pick, you'd have to have somebody funny there. So maybe Robin Williams. I think he'd be pretty funny. He'd make everybody laugh. I think I'd probably have my sister there too. She's pretty fun. She's a lot of fun. Who else would I have there? I don't know. Maybe let's say my husband, just in case he sees it. Just in case he sees this show.
Surely he's following Skinterviews. I'm a fan of Skinterviews already.
And what would I cook? Well, I try really hard to eat like I don't eat a whole lot of meat, so I would probably do like a vegetarian or a vegan type of dish, just because I'm not completely 100% vegetarian, but I do try to make those choices as much as I can. So it's not very fun, is it?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Robin Williams is there, so
Robin Williams in there. He makes it all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. He's a legend. Well, was a legend. So, yeah. So let's talk about some things you do in your spare time or some hobbies. I've got some photos here. Talk us through these 3 photos here.
Yes. So that photo on the left of me with the stethoscope, that was in Haiti when I was a nursing student, actually. Funny story, well, it's not a funny story, but a story about Haiti is we were there in 2009, 2010, and I went with another nursing student at the time. And 8 weeks after we left Haiti in Port-au-Prince, the earthquake happened. And so the team that I went down with, Healing Hands for Haiti, they flew down right after the earthquake hit, and they sent photos back to us of the compound that we were staying in, and it was completely crushed. And then fast forward to last year, I went to Haiti with another team from Canada. It's called Hope Heals Haiti, I think it's called. Can't remember right now. And anyway, a riot broke out there, and we had to actually be evacuated from the compound. We ended up staying an extra 5 days there because we couldn't get off the compound because all the Haitians had the roads blocked to the airport. So we were basically kind of prisoner on the compound. So my dad said he doesn't want me going to Haiti anymore because it was like just a spot where it just didn't seem to work out for me each time that I went. But up at the top there with the cheetah, that's the trip that I was talking about when we went to Africa, which was a lot of fun. And then the bottom one is myself and my dad. It's a funny story too, because this was actually in Miramichi. I'd gone home for the weekend. I woke up that morning and I went for a run like I always do. And of course, who I meet on the road is my dad going for like a 40-kilometer bike ride. He was a marathon runner growing up. So that's kind of where I know I always watched him running and stuff growing up. So it just kind of instilled in me. So it's kind of what I like to do as well, I guess.
And I must say, you're a very, very fit human being, and the hard work that you put in really pays off. I must say that.
Well, I don't know. The quarantine is wreaking havoc, I think, on everybody right now. Gosh, just trying to stay away from the fridge.
Some more than others.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So I want to bring up some other pictures now, and this is a group of, well, three groups of people that I know very, very well, and I love about the Halifax area. And every time I come out for work, I am lucky enough to call in on these clinics. And these three clinics are very, very special. And you're lucky enough to work in these three clinics. And there's something about these three clinics that, unless you go into them, it's really hard to explain the characters that work in them, the people the warm feeling you get when you walk into these clinics. And this is pretty much your second home and your second family, isn't it? I'd love you to speak a little bit about these amazing people on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. So I've been with them for 10 years now, and they absolutely are a part of my family. I've gotten to know them a lot, each and every one of them more on a personal level. And Truro is kind of our home base, but Vitality and Vibe is I'm there, 3-4 days a week, and I can't say enough about these group of girls. So I work with hairstylists, and we work with medical estheticians as well. So I work with quite a bit of what, like, our group is quite huge, quite big at Vitality. We have a large group of people that we work with there, and they're just, everybody is always so very sweet to each other, and they just want to see each other grow and do really well in each of their industries. It's over the 10 years that I've been there, we still get along with each other very well. There's never been an issue with them. It's just nothing but love and respect for each other, which I think is why it works so well.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
what was the defining moment in your career that put you in a position where you started injecting? Like, what led you to injecting and into medical aesthetics?
hmm It was actually right after nursing school. I was working in Fredericton, so up in New Brunswick, and I had graduated and I was working on the cardiac floor there. And I was there for about a good 6 months. And I just knew that, bedside nursing was not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, especially the 12-hour shifts and the nights. So I wanted to get into sclerotherapy. That was kind of what drove my interest into it. And I went to a spa in Fredericton, and there they were, the owner of the spa actually just happened to have a physician in that day that I was there. And I was like, why is he here? And she was like, oh, he's here doing Botox and filler injections. And she was like, I'm pretty sure nurses can do that as well. And it was just like a light bulb moment right then and there. I was like, that is what I want to do. But I mean, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that was still not something that you would really, leave a full-time job at the hospital for. And that's what I ended up doing. It was just something inside me knew that was my next step. And I was fortunate enough to find Dr. Van Aert. He also injects at Fredericton. So our paths crossed, and I was in the right place at the right time. And the rest is history.
That's awesome. And it's been, is it 10 or 11 years now?
Yeah, it's been right around 10 years now that we've been together. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And just before I hand you back over to George, I want to ask you one more question around this. So for anyone younger coming into the industry, maybe a nurse, what's a piece of advice you would like to give them if they wanted to embark on the medical aesthetics industry, or what's something that you've learned maybe from a hard lesson along the way?
I feel that I would say trust your instincts. Get as much education as you can, because it's a very scary industry to get into initially, when you're sticking needles in people's faces, and especially when you start to become educated in it and you know what can go wrong. You have to be very trustworthy of yourself, and be self-sufficient and self-sure that you know what you're doing, and you can take direction well as well. So you need to really listen to your peers and try to get as much information from them as you can, because it only takes a second for it to go wrong, unfortunately. But I mean, it's a really rewarding industry as well. That's probably the best thing that I love about my job, is just making people feel great, and giving them that little bit of confidence that they didn't have before they came in the door.
Amazing. I want to ask you, I mean, there's forever this debate going on about nurses and injecting. And, from West Coast to East Coast, doctors are trying to pull it back from nurses. And there's always a debate as to how dangerous it is. And we all know the risks involved, and whether nurses are qualified enough to do this. And being the first nurse that we have on the show, I really want you to speak to this, because you also come with 10 years of experience. And for many, it's a serious topic, because somebody's like, well, should I only go to a doctor? Should I go to this nurse that's been doing it for 10 years? Who's been training longer? There's serious questions behind it. And I'll give you my perspective of it when you're done. But I want to hear what you have to say about that debate.
Yeah. And I think each individual going into having these injectables done, doing their homework and figuring out, who they want to go to is a huge part of it. Because it doesn't matter what titles are behind your name. It does matter how much, confidence you have with the needle in your hand, and how long you have been doing it. Because the more and more and more you do this, like anything, you're going to get better at it. So you really need to do your homework when it comes to injectables. How long has that individual been injecting? And not only that, how often do they do it as well? So I understand the physicians, from their physician's point of view, but in the same breath, they're not on site when we're injecting morphine into people in the hospital. Like they don't have to be there all the time when we're injecting medications that could do a lot more harm than what we're doing in a clinical spa. So it's kind of a mute argument, because we are injectors. We can inject, and we can inject a lot of medications that they don't ever inject in their lives. They just kind of give orders to do. But I mean, across the board, right across Canada anyway, the majority of people that do inject are nurses. So
Yeah.
it's, for any individual going to have this done, you do really need to make sure that you're going to somebody who knows what they're doing and that they're qualified. Because, like you said, it's a very dangerous thing if that individual doesn't know what they're doing, and you can be left with side effects that we could be chasing for years.
Absolutely. Tell me something you would change about our industry if you had the power to do so.
Um, I think I would probably change the stigmas, I guess, that come around with the words of, like, say, Botox and fillers, because a lot of people just hear the word Botox and they just think it's poison, or a lot of people will hear the word filler and they think, like the Joan Rivers. So there's a lot of stigma that comes along with what we do, but it's really, that's for anybody who knows anything about the industry, you understand quickly that that's not what it is. It's about each individual looking just their best and restoring what they've lost, not making anybody look different. So if we could really just educate the clientele more, or the public more, about what we do, I think that would go a long way, because people are ignorant to what they don't know.
I think part of the problem, and I want you to touch on it before I hand you over to Nathan, because we want to talk a little bit about COVID in the business. But I think part of the problem is that we see a lot of dysmorphia. We see a lot of over injected. We see, faces that look disfigured, deformed. And the problem is, and I'll speak even from experience, I used to get my lips done, and they looked normal to me. And I realized, like, you look back at a picture, you'd be like, whoa, that was way too big. But at the time, you get used to what you're looking in the mirror and you think, no, it's run out and I need more. At what point as a professional do you say no?
I say no
Because
all the time.
I like that, but there's always going to be someone that's going to say yes and take the money and then put it up as a picture. I mean, if I go through my Instagram feed, there are lips from the nose to the chin in every other spot. And I think that's what people are seeing, and that's why they get so afraid of everything. How do
Very
you
much.
do it in your clinic?
Yeah, and it's 100% true. It is very true. We I'm not afraid to say no. I was in the beginning. When I find, like, the more that you become a certified injector, if you will, or injector with experience, the more confident you become also to say no to that individual. And I have no problem now saying no. Like, I literally tell the individual as they're leaving my room, I don't want to see you for another 6 months, because I just, your lips cannot handle any more filler in it. So it's and it's really true, to speak to your point. Like, they come back in, they're like, "Oh, my filler's gone," and I'm looking at them like, "Girl, like, you've got lips out to here. Like, your filler is there. Your filler is not gone." Yes. So I mean, at the end of the day, my patients are my walking billboards. So I need to make sure that my work is reputable. I'm proud of it. And it's not the latter, it's not the other aspect of it where people are just pointing and laughing. That's not what we want ever for our individuals or for our patients ever. It's about just beautifying that individual in a very natural way. But it is hard to navigate sometimes, because we are bombarded with we're also bombarded with the celebrities and the whole social media aspect of it, right? Of trying to look like that perfect filter all the time. So that goes part and parcel with our industry. So we do take a lot of courses on, like, body dysmorphia as well, what to look out for, and how to handle it in a very gentle way. So it's a struggle sometimes, not gonna lie. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about COVID now. You and I have been obviously in conversation pretty much since it happened, because we have another show that we have in Skin Talks, and we've been just talking about this right from sort of day one. this is something that at first probably wasn't taken seriously by a lot of countries, and now it's become very, very, very serious, and it has had a huge impact on us as individuals, but also us from a economic standpoint and a business standpoint as well. And I know that from because I know you personally that you've been very, very active, and you've been doing a lot, like a hell of a lot since we've been sort of in lockdown or isolation. And I would really love you to speak to the viewers at home today about how you're pivoting and what you've been doing in isolation, because it's really full credit to you about how you're conducting yourself in regards to further education and obviously
Mhm.
keeping your brand out there and continuing with such a positive attitude during this time. So please speak to that for us, please.
Yes. So I also am involved in the CSASN as well, which is the Canadian Society of Aesthetic Specialty Nurses. I sit on the board with the members. So we've really thrown ourselves into that so that we can kind of try to grow that organization as much as we can. And we are leaders in Canada for nurse injectors across the country. So we've really been able to really focus on that and put a drive into that and really try to build our membership so that we are producing nurse injectors that are taking patient safety as seriously as we want everybody to, because that's our number one goal. So we try to, we're doing lots of education with that. Now we have all the companies like Allergan, Clarion, MERS, they've really stepped up to the plate, and they are doing so many webinars, educational webinars, lots of Zoom meetings as well. So, and it's fantastic because we were really worried about that when this first all went down, like, oh my gosh, like we're going to lose everything that we've learned. But this, with the way that the companies have stepped up, now there's so many of them, like I can't even keep up with all the webinars that they have going on now. But that, kudos to the industry. Like, I think we're going to see a shift in that as well, how our education is going to go, because who knows when we're going to be allowed to be in the same room with a couple hundred people at a time. But that's something that we've definitely done, that I try to keep up with as much as I can. But I keep up with my exercising as well. I try to get out for as many runs as I can. I try to do a lot of yoga as well. I feel like if you can, always take care of your mind and your body and your spirit, then you'll be a better holistic person, I guess. So that's something that I try to do as well while I'm here. As long as it stops snowing. That's the other thing, when I can get out whenever we can. But other than that, it's just trying to collaborate with my peers and feeding off of one another.
Amazing. It saddens me that you have so much to say, and we're getting close to the end of our interview. And I always love to bring quick fire questions at the end of the interview because it lightens up the mood, it keeps everything smiley and happy. I would love to come out there and get injected by you one day, and maybe one day I will. Nathan will bring me on a trip with him.
That'd be awesome.
In the meantime, are you ready for some hot questions of the minute? Oh,
I'm a little nervous. That light did that as soon as you said that. It was like fire questions, and then your light went off. I was like, oh gosh, I'm in trouble here.
All right. You look like all the light. You until we're done. Sorry, Nathan.
You look more like Adam Lambert in that light now.
Yeah, he totally does.
Wow. I don't know what song to sing. All right. So, ready for some quick fire questions?
I think so.
Red or blue?
I'm going to go blue. I have it on. White.
Okay. Green or white?
White.
Pizza or fries?
Pizza.
Burgers or pasta?
Pasta.
Beyonce or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Favorite drink?
I'm a beer girl. I like beer. I love it.
Last song you sang in the shower?
Last what?
Last song you sang in the shower?
Oh gosh, last song I sang in the shower. Oh, Michael Jackson, ABC. It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
All right. Popcorn or chips?
Chips.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Nathan or me?
Only because I know Nathan a little bit more. That's all. That's all.
Yes! Yes!
You know what? I'm just gonna turn all the lights off. I'm gonna sit absolutely. Oh, look at that, Nathan!
I love that.
Man, it was really great to get to know you. We have 2 more questions before you go. Nathan, go.
I'm sorry.
So we've got 2 more questions. We ask these 2 questions to every guest that comes on the show, as I'm sure you know now because you've watched the show for a long time now. And so these 2 questions are the first one is, can you give us your current skincare routine?
Well, it's all Vivier. It's been Vivier for the past 10 years. I'm pretty easy with my skincare. It's Hexam, Lexol. I throw a peel on whenever I can. The AHA, BHA, I love that. And the retinol, I'm a huge retinol fan as well. Other than that, I'm not a huge product junkie. I've never been. I'm pretty I want simple and easy. I'm not like some of the girls I work with. I'm just more like, okay, let's get this done and get out the door. But Vivier all the way.
You have beautiful skin though. Like,
thank you. That's only because I work with estheticians. That's the only reason why. I work with good estheticians that just torture me every once in a while.
I love that. So the next question, and this is an important one, who would you like to see on the show next if we can get them on? And can you help us in making that happen?
Well, I'm a huge, his name is Professor Sebastian Codafana. He is an anatomist. And this guy he knows everything about anatomy. He's down in the States, but I've had the pleasure of hearing him speak a couple times in Toronto. And he's on Instagram under Professor Sebastian Codafana. And if you could get him on your show, that'd be pretty impressive because he's in pretty high demand right now. But he'd be somebody who would be pretty cool. He would fit this show really well. He's awesome.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should try to get him on. I would definitely tune in for that because he would be amazing. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Awesome. Well, Aundrea, thank you so much for being on our show. I love you. You know that. It's so great to have a nurse injector speaking from out east. You work in 3 of the most amazing clinics in Canada. There's a lot of amazing clinics in Canada, but if you're in the Halifax, Truro area, you've got to go check out Vibe, Vitality, and Truro. Everyone in there is so welcoming. They're wonderful clinics to go in, and there's amazing technology, and you get to see obviously yourself and Dr. Van Aert, which is really important as well. 2 people that have had so much experience in medical aesthetics. And thank you so much once again, and I'm going to pass it on to George to close the show.
Thank you. I can't thank you guys enough.
Aundrea, thank you so much for being here today. Thank everyone for watching. Thank you to my co-host, Nathan Strom. And if there's somebody you would like to see on Skinterviews, by now you've seen a few, you know what we're like, you know what we talk about, someone you really want to get to ask the questions you've heard, or there's other questions you'd like us to ask, all you got to do is head over to our Instagram, which is skin.terviews, or our Facebook, facebook.com/skin.terviews. You can also catch us on LinkedIn on our professional page, which is Skinterviews by Nathan and George. Reach out, send a message, give us a like if you like what you see, share an episode. Maybe there's someone you'd like to see on here. Please make that recommendation. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day or evening, whatever time it is, and take care of yourselves and your family. And most importantly, take care of your skin. See you on the next episode of Skinterviews.